Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining in. So, we're going to watch this video where all of you have been welcomed one last time before we start our attempt. So thank you everyone. This is Uday from DIYA, Do It Yourself Academy. So just like all of you have joined in here, our passion is about making children future ready. To start off with, it gives me immense pleasure and privilege to introduce NCC from UK with presence in more than 50 countries across the world and enabling educators and children across. So with us, we have Mr. Andrew, who is now been leading the great British education in the technology space for almost 20 years as an ambassador. He's a leader with international education space and he connects teaching organizations and educationists to the great British education in order to help unlock opportunities, eradicate inequalities, and inspire learners from around the world to follow their dreams. And in simple words, he's all about inspiring the next generation of digital innovators. Thank you so much, Andrew. Over to you.
Thank you. Wow, I've never been part of a world record attempt, so I feel really privileged and pleased to be part of this codathon today. But even more so, an incredible and ambitious world record attempt aiming to involve many hundreds of schools and thousands of students in a subject I'm very passionate about. All this being possible due to the hard work and vision of Mr. Uday Shankar, founder and president of Do It Yourself Academy. Thank you and well done for being an inspiring educator to many thousands of students. And being organized at perhaps the most challenging time in recent history, with it being during a global pandemic. Without modern technology, this pandemic could have been so much worse and has allowed us to stay in touch with friends, loved ones, and work colleagues. Technology has allowed many of us to continue with work and education without too much disruption. IT has helped us overcome many of the obstacles created by the pandemic, and including finding a vaccine. My name is Andrew Rennie, and I'm a director at NCC Education. We are a British education company and have been providing IT education for the last 50 years. We are based in Manchester, in England, and this is a city which has had a rich history in developing some of the early computers and mathematicians who have been the early architects of modern day computing. So why is it important for young people to learn about coding? Coding is a basic literacy skill in the digital age. And for young learners, it is important to understand how the technology works around you. Learning code at a young age will prepare you for your future education and careers. It will give you that understanding and knowledge to have a successful lives in the future. Coding will help you with communication, creativity, maths, writing, and your own personal confidence. Please think about coding as another language. It will teach you how to communicate and think more logically. Coding encourages creativity. By experimenting, you exercise and train your brain. Creativity is a process. It's not an end product or an end point. And with perseverance in trying again and again, it is an important mental exercise for every young person's mind. Coding will help you with your mathematics at school. Coding will help you visualize abstract concepts. It allows you to apply mathematics to real-world situations and can make maths fun and creative. Coding will improve your academic performance in the classroom. Those young people who learn coding understand how to plan and organize their thoughts. This can lead to better writing skills, and it can be built upon as coding skills develop over time. Coding will help you become confident in solving problems. As you learn to code and give direction, you realize that there are several ways to do something or to solve a problem. So to conclude, coding is a basic must-have literacy for the digital age. It's become a new life skill, allowing you to better understand the technology around you. Please give it a go. Try and learn some coding today. It will be fun, I promise. I guarantee learning coding at a young age will prepare you for your futures and help you with so many important life skills, which I've mentioned above. I know you will have lots of fun today and you will be learning a worthwhile skill. Please stay safe and look after your families and friends. And until next time, thank you very much. Back to you, Uday.
Thank you, Andrew. That was very inspiring. Thank you for inspiring the next generation of digital innovators. Now, just like Andrew has shared, so coding is the next language. We need to treat it as a language that we need to learn. So, what is this program? What is coding? What is this all about? To be in a very, very simple way, to put it across. Now, if I talk to you in English, you understand what I am talking. కానీ నేను తెలుగులో మాట్లాడినా తమిళ్లో మాట్లాడినా ఎలాంటి నా వేరే పేసినాలో नहीं तो मैं हिंदी में बोलूं तो भी आपको समझ नहीं आएगा, correct? So you never really understand different languages, and similarly is the computer's case. So you need to talk in a language, you need to communicate with the computer in a language that the computer can understand. You need to give the computer instructions, commands, orders, sequence, what it has to do, when it has to do, and how it has to do it. And that is what programming or coding is all about. This is just a set of instructions that a computer can follow to complete a task. And now when the computer receives all the information, it's going to process it and then gives the output based on what commands we are given to the computer. So now everything has a sequence and order and how we follow steps, right? There are multiple stages in programming as well. Let us take this with an example. Let's just say I want to fly from Chennai, India to UK. So Andrew and I want to have a cup of coffee. So I'm going to fly all the way to Andrew, right? So first thing I got to do is I got a plan. So the plan is going to be, when am I going to meet Andrew? So I got to book my flight tickets. I got to get my visa done. So when I have all these done, my planning is complete. And then we come to the next phase, which is the writing phase. So what we do in the writing phase is, it's all about making it happen. So in this case, I'm going to go to the airport, board my flight, and the flight is going to take off, and then I'm going to land. So now I'm done with the writing phase. Then we come to the final phase, that is the testing and debugging. So what is this? Now I landed, but then I wanted to land in the London airport, but I realized that I've landed in a different airport. I've taken the wrong connecting flight. So something wrong has happened. So that I've identified in the testing and debugging phase. So what happens next? I go back to my planning phase. So which means now I got a plan. How do I go back to my original destination? Can I take a bus? Can I take a train? Or should I fly to my original airport? When I decide again, I'm going to buy my tickets and then I'm going to go back. I'm going to land at London and then meet Andrew. So similarly, when you start a code, you got a plan. What is it you want to do? What should be the output? You write your code, then you test the output. And if something is not right the way you intended it, then you go back, you change your plan, and then you go out with a new plan and you fix it. That is how the programming stages work. There are so many programming languages out there, just like the languages we talk. And the best part is there are new ones that keep coming because technical advancement is here to stay. And the technology is growing, the languages are growing, and it's becoming all the more easier and powerful. But broadly, there are just two types of programming or coding. The one on the left, if you see, yes, that is a programming language. Ash include stdio.h. It might be hard for children to understand. So it is a type which we call as syntax-based programming. So over here, you've got to type out the words, the punctuations, the commas, the full stop, everything matters. And the output, to be quite honest, is very simple and plain, and it says hello world. But then, if you see on the right, this is called graphical programming. So just 2 clicks, 2 drags, and we are done. So you just drag it out, drop it there, and write down what you want to say, and look at the output. You have a lovely robot telling hello world. So this complete lines of text-based code is just replaced by 2 blocks. And this is called graphical programming. Today, I'm happy to share something special with all of you. And this is DIYA blocks. So this is our own version, just been inspired and developed from the base of scratch. And it gives us immense pleasure to launch this on the day of the world record. And we are going to have a step further. I'm going to show you how to build your first project in animation and coding with DIYA blocks in just very, very simple steps. Are you all excited to learn something new? I am. But before that, I'm going to say hello to your new friends. So we have Arif and Ananya. So both are from India. And we have Beth from UK. Now, Arif and Ananya are going to welcome Beth to India for the first time. So they're all common friends. So the parents who had their education together in the UK. Now what we're going to do is, we're going to go to DIYA blocks and build our first program. So I hope you can all see this. And we're going to start our first program right now to build your own. So this is what we call as the stage. And this is where the hero or the sprite, you see the DIYA robot is going to perform, and it is called as a sprite. And then we have a lot of tools and modules and functions, which has a lot of blocks, and every block has a specific function. For example, if I'm going to say hello, it's going to say it forever. For example, look at this. The DIYA robot is now saying hello. Now, Arif and Ananya, they know that Beth is coming to India. So can we help Arif and Ananya make something really nice to welcome Beth? So when Beth sees them for the first time, she'll definitely love something exciting, right? So let us build a small animation, a small program to welcome Beth to India. Okay, so are you with me? Perfect. So when someone comes to India, so what do we all say? First, we greet them, right? So let's say hello. And here, I'm going to add a couple of more local words, namaste and vanakkam. So this is going to say the greeting first. Next, once Beth has come in, what else should we ask Beth? So before that, shall we make a small motion on the screen so Beth sees a nice movement? Okay, so right now, if you look at the screen, this is the position of the robot. It says X is 125 and Y is minus 49. Now, when I move this to different position, it's going to say minus 117 and minus 51. So this is basically the position of our hero, the sprite, on the screen. Now, let our sprite start over here, and we'll make our sprite move all the way here and then greet Beth. So now we are at 141 and minus 45 on Y, and this position is minus 147 and minus 53. So now we're going into motion, and we're going to say glide. I'm going to give some time to move. I'm going to make it a little bit slow. So I'm going to say take 2 seconds to glide. But over here, see, I've chosen something. But is this the right one? No, right? So I need to choose where the mascot or the DIYA robot is going to come to the right position. So I'm going to say glide to the exact position I want. And the position I want is minus 165 and minus 39. So I'm going to take him back to the starting point. Now let's see how this works. And I've got to tell the DIYA robot to start when I give the command. And for that, there's something called events. And in events, I can say when I want our mascot, the hero, to start. And for that, I'm going to choose when I hit the space bar, I want you to start. All right. So now I'm going to hit the space bar. Now DIYA mascot has moved over here. Now DIYA robot is saying, hello, namaste, vanakkam for 2 seconds. It might be too short. So let's just give it 5 seconds. And then the mascot is going to move. So now DIYA robot has said hello. Next, let's ask for the name or how was your travel? Okay. So for that, we'll do something very, very simple. So we go back and we look for sensing. And in this particular one, you're going to wait for a response from Beth. So Beth can interact with DIYA robot, right? So over here, I'm going to say ask. Then we're going to say, how was your travel, Beth? Now, once we ask the question, it's going to wait till there's a response. And the response, we can find it from answer. So once we put the answer out, that can be made by the DIYA robot to respond with the name. So which basically means, now if I want to say, how was your travel, Beth? And then Beth says it was very good. And then I can say, we are glad that your travel was good, Beth. You can personalize the interaction with Beth. So for that, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to mix 2 sentences or 2 words together. So for that, we have something which we call as operators. And over here, we can join 2 different words or group of words together. And here I'm going to say, we are happy that your travel was. And based on whatever response Beth is going to give, that's going to be combined with this, and our DIYA robot is going to say the same. Now we're going to say, take this block and put this group of blocks together, and we're going to give this response for about 5 seconds. So are you ready? So let's look at how this is going to work before we go into more advanced ones. Ready? And in 3, 2, 1, I'm going to hit my space bar. And before that, I'm going to take you full screen. Oops, something wrong and nothing wrong. I'm just going to move the mascot back to the starting position so that you can actually see how it's going to start and move. So I'm going to bring it back to starting position, going full screen again, and I'm going to start. So first, this greeting, and then our robot is going to move to the position we've asked it to. And then here comes the question, how was your travel, Beth? And Beth is going to say, very good. And then we're going to see the response. We are happy that your travel was very good. And in this way, Arif and Ananya have made something very interesting for Beth to start and welcome her journey in India. So now that the pleasantries are good, now they all would like to go out and have some good time. So over here, what we're going to see is, we're going to look at what more they have in store. So once this is done, they have explored it much, much further. And then they're saying, why don't we go out and play? So when we go out and play, something common which we see are the street lights. As you see, normally we have people cycling around. When it is night, the street light is on. In the morning, it is off. This is something which we expect from the street lights. But then, in some cases, what happens? Even in the morning, the street light is still on, and even in the night, it continues to be on. But is that what we want? We want the street lights to work effectively, right? So for that, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome my mentor who has taught me about embedded systems and robotics. So Dr. Miroslav Kotseki. So he is from Electronics and Stem Cell Foundation, Australia, who's been working very closely with education ministries across the world, guiding students, helping them build projects, bring out the innovation in them through very simple hands-on projects where they can build by themselves, innovate, and solve problems. So over to Miro to say hi.
Hello, everyone from Australia. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, Miro, loud and clear.
That's good. That's good. So here in Australia, Uday actually came and he saw us a few years ago, and we run a non-for-profit foundation here, which is called Stem Cell. You've probably heard of STEM, STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering, Maths, but we also add the social enterprise learning, because the STEM is very important, and it's very important to know the coding and have the skills so we can apply the science, the technology, and we can apply engineering and mathematics. And what do we apply it for? We apply it for actual solutions. So the solution that we want to apply it for is the social enterprise learning. So here we see on the screen, we see a system which we can use, which is called our Easy System. And the Easy System is a graphical system which we have developed, which goes onto our stem cell controller, which is there in the middle. And on the left-hand side, you see where it has the graphics where you can put the connections. So you can put the temperature sensor, the light sensor, type in the names, and then that will configure where the connections are. And then you actually have a block diagram so you can connect. So based on your diagram, then you can connect the hardware with the screwdriver, all the sensors, inputs, outputs, and then you can use those on the graphical system to actually do the actions of the project. Okay, so I'll let Uday explain that further.
So thank you so much, Miro. So I'm just going to quickly run you through the project, what we're going to do again. So the project, the problem statement we're trying to solve right now is going to be the street light. So where even in the mornings, sometimes the street light is still left on, and that is not something we want. And therefore, what we're going to do is we're going to build our own project so that we can completely automate the street light by using powerful controllers and simple programming. So we're going to use a couple of things for this, and we're going to be using the controller that is like the brain of the robot, which is going to take our commands, and we're going to program this. And to this, we will be connecting our sensors and output devices. For doing our first project, we will be needing a very, very important tool that is called as a sensor. Now, what is this sensor? Now, eye is a sensor. Now, brain is like our controller. So what my eye sees, the information, it goes to the brain, and the brain is going to process this. For example, if my eye sees Miro, my brain gets information saying and process it, saying that now I've identified that it is Miro. And then I decide I got to do something. And then I decide that I want to say hi to Miro. And then here my mouth is the output, and I'm going to say hello, Miro. So if you see, it took 3 stages. First, I had my sensor collect the information from the surrounding. Then I had my brain to process that information and come to a decision. And then I had my mouth that was the output to perform the action. So we're going to do something very much similar over here. So what we will do is we're going to be adding the first step, our sensor. So to measure what is the light that is present around us, we have a light sensor, which is called as a LDR. LDR stands for light dependent resistor. Now, I'll not go deep into how this works and all that, but I'm just going to say this light sensor is going to give me the sense or the value of how much light is present around us. And the best part about this tool is it gives me where should I connect it to. So light green is recommended and dark green is compatible. So I've chosen my light sensor and C7 has been highlighted immediately. So now I'm going to click on this and I can rename this to however I want. And I'm going to call this as light sense. Next is I want to have an output wherein I'm going to control the bulb of the street light. So for that, I'm going to use the simple light or LED tool. Click on that. And again, C4 has been highlighted. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to rename this to bulb, B-U-L-B. Now, as the first step, we have now told our brain that, hey, the light sensor is on C7 and the bulb is on C4. So now my controller knows what has been connected and where it has been connected. As the next step, we now have to go to code chart. So where we're going to say, this is the code and this is what action I want you to perform. All right. So before we go to code chart, I'm going to show you what this is all about in terms of what is the hardware that we are going to use. Okay. So for that, temporarily, if you see, I'm going to show you the controller that is being used, and I'm going to show you some of the sensors and the output device. So over here right now, this is our controller, and this over here, the one, this is the brain, and this is the one that is giving us high current output. And this is the sensor that we are using. This is called as the LDR, the light dependent resistor. Now, when I've done all my connections, it's going to look something like this. So this is my controller, and I've made all the connections as per the design I've made. So my LDR is over here, and my bulb is over here, and I've connected it respectively to C4 and C7. Now that all my connections are complete, I can now proceed to my coding phase. In terms of coding, what we're going to do is, as the first step, we're going to be deleting the test blocks. And I don't want it anymore, so I'm going to remove it. Now we got to tell the controller what exactly has to be performed. So as the first step, like we discussed, we need to get information from our surrounding. We need to find out how bright is it. So for that, I'm going to go to inputs, and then there are two types over here, digital and analog. So digital is very, very simple. It's either on or it is off, like the switch at home. You switch it on or you switch it off. And then there is analog. So what is this analog? So analog is something that keeps changing. For example, let's say about 5:30 a.m. in the morning, when the sun is slowly rising, it is a bit bright. As it goes towards noon, the brightness keeps increasing. And at noon, it's very bright. And again, after noon, the brightness keeps decreasing. So again, about 5:36, slowly becomes just a little bright. I mean, it's about 6:37, it is dark. So if you see, it has more than two stages beyond on and off. And that is why we call it as an analog signal. Now that we are measuring light, we've got to take analog inputs. I'm going to place it over here. And as simple as I'm going to say, I'm going to take input from light sensor. I'm going to show and save this value as L val. So light val just for my reference. The beauty about this is I'm going to get the information in numbers, in very, very simple numbers. If it is completely dark, it's going to give me a 0 as the input signal. And if it's going to be fully bright, it's going to give me an input signal, which is equivalent number, about 250 is what this particular block is going to give me. So 0 means it's dark. 250 means it is fully bright. It is fully bright and I need no more light, right? So now I'm going to do the code. I have to decide the algorithm, the logic that's going to work with this. So I'm deciding that anything below 50% is dark and anything above 50% is going to be bright. So if it is dark, I have to switch on the light. And if it is bright, I have to switch off the light. So let's get to that. So first step is we have to find out if it is bright or dark. So for that, I'm going to compare. And when I click on compare and place it over here, this opens up. So LVAL is what I've saved my signal, my sensor value as, and I'm comparing with 50%. So half of 250 is 125, And then I'm comparing to check if it is above or below. So if it is above, it means it is bright. And if it is below, it means it is dark. So if it is below, I have to switch on the light. So I'm going to outputs, on, off. Click over here, and I'm going to switch on the bulb. Okay. Next, if it is above, which means it is bright, and I'm going to switch off the bulb. Now, I'm going to make something a little bit more special. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add one more aspect to this, wherein there is a special LED on board on the controller itself, which can be controlled. So along with the bulb that I've connected, I'm going to switch on the LED as well. Okay. Now, a simple question to all of you. The answer is still on screen, right? So where do I connect this? Over here. Once I do this, what do I do? Do I make it off or do I make it on? Yes, that's right. And I select the yellow LED and then I make it off. Okay. Now, next step is I have to make this as a group, a code group together so that it works as one single piece. So I've clicked on 5 and 6. I'm making that as one group and I'm calling it as light and on. I've created a group and then I'm making my next group and let's call it as light off. So light, and then I'm going to use the word off so it's easier for me. So those who have done some amount of code before, there is something that is missing from the code. So I'm going to tell you what it is after I upload the code. So before that, stay tuned. I'm going to upload the code to my controller. So now for uploading the code, there are a couple of modes in the controller. The first one, what I got to do is, just like we have thought process. So are we being instructed or are we just being giving information? So similarly, even the controller needs to be told, hey, I'm sending you a new code, you stand by. And that is called as the programming mode. So I have now made my controller the programming mode and I'm going to send the program to the chip. And it's warning me that I should make sure it's in the programming mode. I've done that and now I'm clicking OK. So I'm doing street light 1 and then my code is being sent. Now what do we do? Now if you see, programming was successful and I'm going to bring it back, switch it off, switch it on. And if you see over here, I don't see that it is working. So this is my light sensor. So now if you see, the sensor might be working fine, but the bulb is not glowing. So I have missed something in my code. So your question is, what have I missed on the code which will make the code work perfectly? It's just simple logic. If you can find out what it is, you can leave the same in the YouTube comments. The ones who answers the best will be getting some special gifts from us. Okay? So the one that I've missed is something very, very simple, because if I just measure the value of sensor once, it will not be okay. I need to keep checking the value again and again, and I keep running the code continuously till I power it off. And for that specific reason, we have something go to blog. We click on go to and it has to go to start. So from here, once this ends, it goes back to start and it keeps running again and again till my complete code is done. So now again, I'm going to go back to the programming mode, hold the push button and then switch it on. You would have heard that. And now I'm going to send my program to the chip again. It says programming has been successful. Next, what I'm going to do is, once it is successful, I'm going to switch it off, again switch it on to bring it back to the execution mode. This is my light sensor, this is my bulb, and this is my LED on board. So can you see the light glowing up? So when the sensor is closed, the light glows up, which means when it is dark, it glows. Over to Miro to add more.
So with this,
Miro, can add something?
Yes, that's very good. And of course, we do need to repeat the code. That's actually very important. A lot of students do miss that step. So it's very important to emphasize that that it needs to go back because it needs to recheck the sensor and needs to make a new decision. So that's why the code needs to actually go and do that as well. Now, Uday has demonstrated to you the stem cell board with the graphical system. And we also have developed then on the same board, the stem cell board, which I will show you here in Australia as well. I have one here. So this board here, the stem cell board, we've also developed a way of adding a Wi-Fi chip onto it as well. So with that Wi-Fi chip, we have inside created a system which is able to open on a web page, and then it's similar, but it is not a graphical system because we're actually using HTML and JavaScript, which are very important languages in themselves. So what I'll do then is I'm going to ask Uday to actually demonstrate this very new innovation, which is RunLink, which is Internet of Things based. So it means that it will run on a web page. It can run anywhere in the world, and we will show that Uday will be able to program it, to code it, and even to code my device, which is sitting here on the table in Australia. So let's have a look, Uday.
Sure, thank you. So now, as a first step, what we achieved is we've made sure that the street light is working perfectly fine. In the morning, it is off. In the night, it is on again. Now, as a second step, what is very much possible is we're now able to control and bring it together. We saw the software part, and then over here, we have the hardware part, so in which you can give form to the robot. Now, we've seen that they've made something special. RF and Ananya have now brought a complete street light which was outside their house, which is not functional properly. They made it controllable. Now, next step is, now Beth is thinking, can I do something just like that in the UK? So for that, we are using IoT, just like Miro has shared. And for the wonderful platform that we're using is RunLink. So RunLink is the best STEM technology, and it disrupts the STEM curriculum. It's simple, a web page, and something as simple as a Wi-Fi chip like this. So this Wi-Fi chip can be controlled from anywhere in the world. And it has been now connected to Miro back in Australia. I'm able to share it. And I would love for Miro to share with us what this RunLink can do, how powerful it is.
Okay, so we can see here that RunLink can, for example, just with one line of code in which is HTML, which is a very powerful language, but it is quite a simple language too to learn. And it is the script which is behind all of your web pages. One line of HTML code inside RunLink can take your camera streaming from your mobile phone and then show it on a web page of your own, and then stream the camera onto that web page. So just with one line of code, you can do that. 2 lines of code, you can create 2 buttons. So you can create an on-off button to control anything, anywhere. This can be lamps or motors. It can be pumps, many things. Okay, so and 3 lines of code inside this RunLink, you can include text to voice synthesis. This would be inside the part which is in the JavaScript. So RunLink uses HTML to create the web pages, and it uses JavaScript for the code which is behind the web pages. But the JavaScript is very powerful. It's used by 70% of the web page programmers in the world, and so it's a very important skill to learn the JavaScript. So you can see here the page, there's a HTML, there's a JavaScript, And on the left-hand side, there are still the ports, and you can configure the ports, give them a name. But this page makes it possible to put everything together. Okay, so
let's get started.
Uday will actually demonstrate how this page works.
Sure, I'll do that for you. So right now, if you see, this is the IP address of the board. So through this, I'm able to connect to the controller that is in Australia, and I've connected. And these are all the pins that have been connected. And with that, now we're going to see how we can control our complete set of devices sitting in Chennai, India to Australia. The first step is we got to identify what all has been connected, and then we're going to connect the same. So now, Arif and Ananya are going to help Beth with the RunLink platform. So now she's in Chennai. She has to control the devices across the world. So for the first step, let's see where it has been connected to. And similarly, so C4 has been connected as the output device, so to which the bulb has been connected. So it says digital output, and then I'm going to call this my bulb, B-U-L-B. So right now, if you see, it is being switched off, and then we can see that if we can switch on, what's going to happen. Now I switched it on. If you see, it's going to light up in Australia. Now the bulb at Miro's place has been switched on.
It is on. Yeah, look, it's on. And you've turned it off again. Very good.
Now, again, just by a click of a button, I can switch it on. And this is the powerful interface which we can have. And as the next step, Miro has also connected a sensor, that is the light sensor, to the controller. And that has been positioned at C7. So can you see that? That's the light sensor, the LDR.
This is the light sensor here. Yes. Thank you.
And next to it is the buzzer. So Miro has connected 3 devices for us. So the Wi-Fi controller, and on C7 is a light sensor. The sensor is the input to the brain. So I'm going to call it as an analog input. So we're going to call this as the light sense. If you see over here, the value has started coming. Now we can see it's really bright. So Miro is going to cover the sensor for us. I'm going to see that the value is going to drop. So slowly Miro is just covering the sensor.
I'm putting my hand on it.
And if you see, the value is slowly coming down, and it goes down real time, and it's fully covered. It's gone down to almost 87. So with this values, we'll now be able to code and control our devices over there. It's going down. And now when Miro takes off his hand, you're going to see that it's going to come back to its full value slowly. And yes, it's come back to the original value. So it's bright. So we're able to see the value as 222. So 250 being the highest. And also, Miro has connected a buzzer for us. We're going to test the buzzer as well. So buzzer is again an output device. I'm going to call it my buzzer. Okay, now it's giving me the option to switch it on or switch it off. So listen carefully. I'm going to switch it on. And the bulb has been switched off. Now I'm going to switch on the buzzer. So if you see, as soon as the bulb is off, the light sensor value has gone down. Now I'm going to switch on the buzzer. So can you hear that?
That's very loud. I think loud enough to go from Australia to India.
Absolutely, absolutely, Miro. So it's been heard all the way to India, right? So that's how we're able to control devices from across the world on this wonderful platform. Now, like Miro has told us, writing code is very, very easy. We're going to be using Java, but over here, Java has been simplified to just write one line of code in 3 clicks of a button. So JavaScript is going to help us to just write once. And here, it's going to be run only once. But when I add it to JavaScript loop, it's going to keep running again and again, multiple times. So I would just like to say sensor is equal to, then I would say analog input of which one, my light sensor. So if you see, sensor is having the value of light sense. Now, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to repeat this over here. The reason being, I need to keep getting the value again and again to make sure that the value is real time. Okay, so next what we'll do is, we're going to go to the next step and we're going to compare. So we're going to see how we can switch on and switch off as the first step in the macro. So what I'll do is, let me use the first step to turn on and turn off the bulb with the code, with the JavaScript. So turn on bulb, and I'm going to add the macro. Okay. Now, next, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to give a small time gap and I'm going to switch off the bulb. We have to see how it is going to take the real-time signals and switch it on and switch it off. So over here, we have an option that says the await function. In the await function, I'm going to say, doesn't matter what I'm going to choose, and it gives me the value in milliseconds. MSec stands for millisecond, and 1000 milliseconds is equal to 1 second. So let's just say I want the bulb to wait for about 2 seconds in the on state. I've changed it to 2000. Okay. In the next step, I'm going to turn off my bulb, and let's just see how it is going to work. And then I go to turn off the bulb, and I've added the macro. Okay. So now I've just got the value of my light sensor, not doing anything with it. Next, I've turned on the bulb. I waited for 2 seconds, and then I've turned off the bulb. All right. So let's just see how it works. And for that, I'm going to go to the top and I'm going to hit run code. So once I run my code, if you see, now my code has been sent and the light has switched on. So it's gone for 2 seconds. 1, 2, and it's still on. Something is wrong with the code. So this is the second question, a third question rather. So what have I missed, which is making my code not work the right way? So what should I add over here? So for now, I'm just switching off the bulb. So what should I add to my code to make it run the right way? So I need to stop the code, otherwise it's going to keep running again and again. I've stopped my code and the bulb has been switched off. So what is it that I have to add to JavaScript loop to make it run again and again the right way? But I want my bulb to be switched off as well. But I want it to be switched off for just 1 second. So after the turn off bulb, I have missed one small thing, which is the await function again. So I've got to wait, and then I've got to make the code run again. And here it's going to be on for 2 seconds and then off for 1 second. Now let's run the code and see how it works. I'm going to run the code, and the code is going to go from here in India to Australia, and it's going to be executed on the controller to control the light. I'll run the code. Code has been sent, and then we're going to be starting the light on. That's for 2 seconds, and then 1 second off, 2 seconds on, and then 1 second off. So that's how it's working real time with the real time time delays. So I'm going to stop the code for now. Now, as the next step, let's go a bit further and let us make this street light completely automatic, okay, with the sensor value. So for the first step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the time delay, because we don't need a delay if it's going to be automatic. So for this, we go to use the if condition. The if condition is going to help us to control based on the sensor value. For that, I have to go here, and then I have to say if, and then I need to say light sensor and then add macro. Okay. Now I'm going to say if, let's delete all this, if sensor, this is my condition as it says. So if sensor is less than 125, that is the value of the sensor. In that case, what I need to do is over here, I'm going to remove this part as well. This is the part where I have to do the action sequence if the sensor value is below 125. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the bulb. Okay. Now, similarly, if it is going to be above, what should I do? And for this, I have the else if. Similarly, with the light sensor, I'm going to say add macro. Okay. So here I have to say if the sensor value is more than 125, I need to perform an action, right? So here I'm going to type it out. I'm not going to use the macro this time. So I'm going to say if sensor is greater than 125, then I need to perform an action. And here, there's going to be one small difference in the code. Whoever identifies that first is going to get a small prize. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my bulb. And then if the bulb is going to be off, I understand that it is bright. And I need to add my open braces over here. So here I've got the value of the sensor from the analog input of the light sensor has been connected to C7. If the sensor is less than 125, I've switched on the bulb, and if it is greater than 125, I've turned off the bulb. So the answer to your question is right on the screen. So the code is very, very case sensitive. So you've got to use turn off the bulb, and only then it would work fine. So with just 5 to 6 lines of code, we have now been able to control all the devices from India through IoT, through this powerful platform, wherein we're just going to now upload this code and see how it's going to work. Ready? So now I'm going to send this code all the way to Mira, and Mira is going to show us how it's going to work. And now I'm going to run the code. So the value of the light is about 174. The street light is off. And now I'm going to ask Miro to cover the sensor. Sensor is now open. So Miro is now covering it up with his hand. The value is going down slowly. It's now about 145, 43, 27. It's gone below 125. And as you can see, it is on. Now, if Miro takes off his hand, it's going to be switched off. All right, so now here it's turn on and turn off. When the light sensor is above 125, it is being switched off. And if it is going to be below again, which Miro is going to demonstrate for us one last time. So he's covering it up slowly. It's gone below 125 and the street light is being switched on. Okay, thank you, Miro. So he's doing that. And now you see that the light sensor has been controlled real time with just few lines of code with Java. You can control the street light from India to anywhere, and you can just run the code, stop the code. You can download the code, what you've done, and you can make it happen. Now let's go to the next challenge. The next challenge, which Arav and Ananya have to help Beth with, is going to be very, very simple. Now, Beth is with them in India. Now, what if somebody goes to Beth's house in the UK when the parents are not home? Let's just say a burglar of sorts is going to enter their house, system is going to prevent and make sure that the burglar cannot just run away with it, and there's going to be something very, very powerful. So what you just saw was a simple application of a laser line and a light sensor. So in this case, what has happened was, now there is the two surfaces, the two walls, and on one wall is the sensor, the light sensor, and on this wall is the laser. So when you leave the house, you're going to arm the house, and then when the laser is switched on, and here it's going to fall on the light sensor. So it's going parallelly between two like this. Now when somebody comes in between these two, this line gets cut and automatically it gets triggered that somebody has tried to enter the house in our absence. And immediately you see what happened. The lights in the house were switched on and the buzzer was triggered and the thief got scared and he ran away. Now, let's see how we can do that in a very, very simple way by just making minute replacements in what we've done. So, what if I told you I can just change 2 words in the code which I have done and make sure that it is going to do the exact smart alarm system powered by IoT for me? So, who can tell me what are the 2 words, just 2 words that I need to change to make the same code become a smart security system for me? Brilliant. So we have some very good answers coming. So if you see, the only small replacement that I need to make over here is, if I replace my bulb with the buzzer, it becomes a smart security system. So when the burglar is trying to enter, the light value goes below 125, my buzzer has to be triggered. And if nobody is there, it can be normal. But here, the only one thing which I have to do with a much more specific manner is I got to keep the alarm on till my neighbors come to my rescue. So what I'm going to do over here is, as the first step, I'm going to replace the bulb with the buzzer. So remove the bulb, be very sure with the spelling and the cases. Here is B in caps, U-Z-Z-E-R. So B-U-Z-Z-E-R over here. And similarly, I'm going to make something like that over here. Now for the example's sake, I'm going to keep my buzzer on just for a small amount of time. In this case, let's keep it on for about 2 seconds so that for example's sake, of course, in real time, we have to make it much more higher. And after 2 seconds, it gets reset. That's how we're going to build a small prototype of the smart security system. So I'm going to run the code for you, and we're going to see how our smart street light has now become a smart security system. And in 3, 2, 1, I'm going to run my code. So the code is right there. If you can see Miro's desk, and Miro is now going to show us the sensor. So the sensor is now open. He's covering the sensor. So somebody has crossed the line. Sensor value has gone below 125. So the buzzer is ringing on for 2 seconds. Now once Miro takes his hand off, in 2 seconds it switches off. So that's how it's going to work. You see, it's off in 2 seconds. Now again, if Miro is going to cover up the sensor, it's going to be on again to warn the people around that somebody has entered. It's gone down. So now Miro is going to help us with that. So when the sensor is being covered fully, you can see that the buzzer has started with a small time delay. And over here, it's going to be on for about 2 seconds and then switch off. So as simple as that, with this simple platform, now Beth is completely rest assured that her house in UK is completely safe, and she has built her own project to make it happen, and she's very happy about it. Now, I'm going to pass it back to Miro to tell us how we've been able to make this happen. But before that, before we go to something more special, I'm going to be telling you about what is AI and how we can do it. So first and foremost, we need to understand what is intelligence, what is human intelligence. So as a person, as a human, I can do a couple of things. The first and foremost is my ability to perceive, to see the information, understand and analyze. For example, without any sense, any instruments, I know it is bright or dark. And I know that if it is going to be in the evening, it's going to be dark. So that is an algorithm that my mind now knows, because I've seen over 1 week that by 6 p.m. it goes dark. So I've now analyzed the surrounding. Now, next is the ability to learn and increase the knowledge. I know that something is happening. Now I can find out why it is happening. Now I found out because the daytime and the nighttime, the sun's orientation changes, and therefore when it becomes night, it's going to be dark. And finally, the ability to make decisions. So I know that if it's going to be night, I've got to switch on the lights. So based on that information, the knowledge I've gained and my analysis, I can now make decisions to make what has to happen by night, which in this case is to switch on the lights. So what is AI? So AI is our technique, our methods, our process, and rather an attempt to make a machine think like man here, just to make sure that it makes our effort much more simpler, make faster decisions, and ensure that the security is high, the losses are minimal, the effort is also minimal, and ensures the highest quality. So in future, when we combine AI and IoT together, a simple example is, let's just say you're getting up every day morning by 8 a.m. Imagine your own personal assistant, which is already happening actually, is going to play your favorite song, open the curtains, and tell you it's time to brush your teeth, and switch on the coffee maker, make the coffee ready for you, and then make a simple toast. So like that, many things are possible when AI and IoT come together. There are many applications of AI right now in this world. So some of those examples and applications which we are going to see today is in terms of gaming, expert systems, and also we're going to be seeing how a small example in case of image processing can be used to make sure our job is all the more easier. Second, in terms of expert systems, it understands what we speak. For example, we say, hey Google, hall light on, and Google is going to switch on the lights in the hall. And that is a simple example of speech recognition. And then face recognition. So right now, if you're just going to point your phone at your face, it's going to open the lock screen for you. And then text recognition. In terms of, let's say you've written down something, you've sent a message. Imagine you're sending a message to your microwave saying, heat my food. And the microwave automatically switches on and keeps the food warm by the time you're back home. In terms of intelligent robots, let's say when you're away on a small trip, the robot can go around your house, keep your floor clean, and also give you consistent updates as to what is going on around. And more importantly, in terms of computer vision, it can identify objects and much more. So right now, I'm going to be showing you an example of RunLink, so where we will be identifying objects with code. So if you can see my screen right now, this is the RunLink code, wherein with my camera, I can identify multiple objects. So for example, if this is my AC remote, so I'm going to bring it in front of this. So in the bottom, if you see, this I'm showing what it is, and it says remote control in the bottom. So, and it also gives me the amount of accuracy. And just say I'm going to point my water bottle over here. It says water bottle with the amount of accuracy. And let's say I'm going to point back at the camera itself. It's going to give me an example of that. So based on what I show, now over my face, when I point it to myself, it says I'm wearing a bow tie and I'm wearing a suit of clothes and with accuracy of 0.74%. So with this in real time, it can identify objects and give you an input as to what it is. So imagine what it can do for a blind person. Let's just say the person is pointing at objects and it can tell the person what object the person is using and here what the person is going to do with that. So with this, I'm going to share the stage to Miro. He's going to help us with understand how we can leverage this for the benefit of the world at large.
Okay, thank you, Uday. The example that Uday actually showed is also done in RunLink. So some students that have used a one line of code, for example, to create their one line of code camera streaming, have then extended it and created object recognition and being able to put the text. But also because JavaScript and the browsers which JavaScript run in already have text-to-voice artificial intelligence built in, then you can access that just with 3 lines of code. And you can then take the text from the picture and then it can speak the text. Not only speak, but it can even spell the text because you can change the word into letters. Okay, so with an extra bit of code, we can split the letters and then it will actually spell, how do you spell those things in English as well. So it can also point and speak and spell at the same time. So this is one very good example, which even a young student actually did with RunLink. One of the other AI examples was a student was able to connect to Google and the student said, hey, Google, can you draw a graph of the light sensor? And then it actually did a graph using the HTML, actually did a graph up and down on the light sensor. So these are examples of using RunLink for AI. So isn't that great? The RunLink can do the graphical programming, it can do the RunLink IoT, and it can also do the AI. And I'll have to point out as well that RunLink, because it's on a Wi-Fi chip, it can run also even without internet. So you can just put in the local IP address, open the page, and then you can do all of those things just locally without internet, just directly as well. So these are the advantages of being able to extend the things on RunLink. Also, we also are going to tell you a little bit more about how you can try some of the things on RunLink. So I'll pass back to Uday for that.
So thank you so much, Miro. So as a gift for all the participants of the world record, so Electronics and Stem Cell Foundation have come forward and they've said you can do 5 projects of RunLink AI and IoT from your home just by using your phone and your laptop. That's it. So no kit required. And how you can do this, how the code has to be done, what are the steps. So all this will be shared on the mobile app which you've been downloaded. And next 1 week in sequence, we'll be sharing new projects regularly. So you can do your 5 projects, and the ones who finish all the 5 projects and share the same with us will be getting special rewards. The first project which you will be doing is in terms of an IoT camera streaming. So with RunLink, with just 1 line of code, you can create a vision process between your phone and your laptop. The second one, with just 2 lines of code, you'll be able to control and create your own buttons and control lights. And third one is with a traffic signal. And then you're going to be using a storytelling app. So how would it be if you can choose to hear a different story from an AI algorithm with your own voice choice? And before you go to bed, you can just say, hey, tell me a story. And your own code, which you have done, is going to be doing that for you. The best part is it has been done by 9-year-old Buchang from Nepal with IoT STEM AI with RunLink, and just a simple mobile app. He has made a storytelling application, and he's just 9. So I'm sure you can also do it. It is very easy. So your own personal storyteller. How good is that? And that too powered by AI. And then your last project is going to be your AI object recognition through speech synthesis. So wherein, just like we did, you'll be able to identify what object it is, and it is going to tell you that. So if you can help kids this way, very simple. Let's just say right now, you know that even 3 or a 5-year-old is spending a lot of time on the mobile phones, right? So, but here, what they're going to do is when they spend time on the phone and they point at objects, your AI application is going to tell the child that this is a water bottle, this is a pen, this is a remote. So you are helping children learn new words just by pointing at objects, and not just learn the word. They're going to be learning the spelling, how to pronounce it, and all that. And you are going to be doing that by yourself. So wishing you all the best. Do your own projects. And I'll leave Miro to give a closing note on RunLink IoT, and we can go further.
Okay. Thank you, Uday. And I look forward to those also that want to even do a live demonstration back to Australia as well. I welcome them to be able to do that. But any contact, you can do that through Uday as well. And so Uday and DIYA have been using the RunLink also for a while. And so what I do is I recommend that you go back to them for those things. The other thing about the RunLink is we do actually have a website for RunLink, which is runlink.com. And you can see many videos of the many things that we've also described before. The other thing is that even RunLink has caused many young students to win awards. So, for example, many years in a row, our RunLink students who have taught RunLink have been able to use IoT for the last 3 years. They've even won trips overseas. So there was young Michael Zhang who went for a trip to Paris, and he also met Dr. Yunos and told him all about his social enterprise learning as well. Dr. Yunos is actually he started microfinance and was able to help many poor people. And so Michael is using his RunLink to also help many poor people, such as the orphans in Nepal, to actually learn how to do coding as well. We then also have Max, and Max actually created a biobin smart farm using RunLink, and he won at the Royal Adelaide Show in Adelaide. he went to the 20 countries international inventors competition, and he won that competition. Okay, so he got gold, but he also got the trophy. And what ended up happening is the Australian commissioner went to see him and even sent many tweets out all over the world. But also when he came back, he was a hero. He ended up on local government, ABC television. He was asked by the education minister to see him in Parliament House to talk about it. And so he was a hero. And recently, even during this year, COVID-19, we had a student that entered online using Runlink, and he created a smart farm also with the tank monitoring. And he won the Royal Adelaide Show. He entered online at ITEX in Malaysia, ITEX 2020, and he ended up winning the gold medal. And also he was one of the top 3 overall out of all of the 20 countries also that participated as well in that. So not only can you learn the coding, but you can do amazing projects, you can help poor people, and you can also able to win the competitions. What we want you to do is use your creativity and create something that is very good for social good. So this is Project A5, the AI object recognition that Uday has put up on the voice synthesis. Okay. Thank you, Uday.
Thank you, Miro. Thank you, Miro. I know it's almost midnight for you. Thank you for joining us all the way from Australia.
That's
It's been an immense pleasure hosting you, and I'm sure kids had an amazing opportunity to learn from someone who has almost 30 years and above experience in embedded systems, electronics, IoT, and AI. Thank you so much, Miro, and thank you for helping us with the free projects as well. I'm sure children are really excited, and we'll be coming back to you with the projects children have made. And now, next, what we're going to do is we're going to be controlling objects in India from Australia, other way around. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you for joining in.
All right.
Have a great
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Uday.
All right, friends. So that was Miro, and we had something amazing on AI and IoT with Runlink. Next, let us see what more you can do with AI. But before that, let me introduce you to a platform in the sense with AI, what can be done. So I'm going to show you a platform that is called Complementary. It is by MIT, USA. And this is a platform which is having the same base, the feel like Scratch, but then it has much more powerful tools. You can do AI with this. You can do commands. You can process information and much more. Now, as the first step, as in terms of voice, let's try giving it commands and we'll see how it works. Okay. So now we're going to build a simple AI interaction project. So here, if you see, it's called Complementary. Over here, what we're going to do is we're going to be building our first very own completely AI project for voice analysis. Okay, it's very, very simple, just a few steps. So first and foremost, we're going to choose our hero, the sprite, like we did before. And for that, I'm going to choose a sprite. And my favorite over here will be Complementary. So he has the robot look and feel. So I'm going to share the Complementary platform with you again. So over here, if you see, it is now the platform, and I've added a sprite called Complementary. I'm going to delete the older one. Just click on that and delete. And over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep giving commands to Complementary, and Complementary has to come back to me with a response or an action. So let's just see how that works. It's just going to be a few click, drag, drop, and some commands. So as the first step, let us ask Complementary to introduce to us. Okay. Now, why are we doing this? Now, Beth has seen all this, but then she wants to talk to a robot and see how it works. So now Arav and Ananya have done so much for Beth. First, they made a welcome message. Second, they showed her that they can solve problem using technology by controlling a street light next to their house. And then, when Beth was concerned if she can do that the same in the UK, they helped her with the Runlink platform. They just not only helped her to control the street lights and the lights at home, they also helped her to make her home safe. So with Runlink, with AI, IoT, they have now built a security system in the UK. Now, Beth has one last request for them. So, can she give commands to a robot and that robot can perform what she has asked for? So, here we're going to do the last step and let's help Arav and Ananya with that. Shall we? Are you ready? Perfect. Let's get started. So, as the first step, let's start with speech. And now we're going to ask Cognate to speak and we're going to say, hello. I am, let's look for spelling, Cognate. What can I do for you? That's what I'm going to say. So what can I do for you? Let's see how the voice is.
Hello, I am Cognate. What can I do for you?
So
hello, I am Cognate. What can I do for you?
You've seen the voice coming in. Next, we have to give a response sequence. So then we can give a set of commands as to what we would like Cognate to do. Okay, so next Cognate has to ask us and then we have to respond. So for that, we can add the speech to text wherein what we speak will start getting registered, will get saved, and then this information or this voice which has been saved will start being played and then it will be processed to extract the words from what we've spoken, and then those words that have been spoken will be matched to perform actions. So now we've started listening. So let's give ourselves about 3 to 5 seconds to speak. So once we speak, we'll perform the action. So over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a delay. So delay would be there in events or control. So let's try control first. And here it is. Over here, I'm giving a delay of about 3 seconds for me to speak. And then once I speak, I'll be able to see the action. So now Cognate has started listening to me. And then I need to ask it to stop listening after 3 seconds. Else it's going to keep listening forever. And it's going to make no sense to Cognate, right? And here I'm going to say stop listening after 3 seconds. So now again, I'm going back to speech to text and I'm going to say stop listening. Now Cognate has stopped listening. Now we come to the very important part. This is the extract. So whatever we have spoken in terms of the voice, the word, everything, the speech has been converted to text by the AI platform itself. It's made so simple, fast, and easy for us that we can just drag it and drop it. Now, when I enable this checkbox over here, it will show me what is the word that I've spoken. Okay, now I'm just going to say 2 commands. So one command is going to be say hi. So when I say hi, I want a response from Cognate. And then when I say move, I want Cognate to move. So we'll keep very simple commands so that we can do it in a very simple manner. So you can do this at home as well. So now what I'm going to do is once I get the speech, I need to see what has been spoken, right? So when I hear, say, hi, I want some set of actions to be performed. And when I hear move, I want another set of actions to be performed. So my speech has been enabled over here. So I'm going to do away with this. So we have now 2 sets of codes which we need to write. The first one is when I hear hi, and second one is when I say move. So when I say hi, I want Cognate to ask me, how are you? But this time with a twist. I want to give some more intensity in the voice. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my text to speech, and then I'm going to say, changing the voice to something more intense like a giant, and then I'm going to say, how are you? So again, going back to my text to speech, and then I'm going to say, how are you? In a giant voice. And when I say move, I want Cognimate to move a bit, right? So what I'm going to be using over here is what is happening in the sense for the glide path. So again, I'm going back to motion, and over here, I'm going to make Cognimate move. Okay, but this time I'm going to make Cognimate move in 10 steps for 5 times. So for that, I'm going to go back to control, and over here, if you see, there's a repeat block. And then I'm going to say repeat 5 times, and each time you move 10 steps. Now the code has been done, but there is one thing that is missing in the code. So can you find out what I have missed in the code and add that in the YouTube comments? So let's see who answers first and the best. So when I add the missing block, the code is going to be complete and I can now perform my action. So if I say hi, I'm going to hear how are you? And if I say move, I'm going to watch Cognimate move. Let's see what happens. So the right answer is the events, and we need to add a function. Let's just say in this case, I'm going to say when I click on Cognimate, I'm going to expect some action from Cognimate. So let's see how it works. I'm going to full screen with Cognimate to see what the output is. Now Cognimate is ready, it's waiting for me. And here I get the output of what I'm going to speak. And let's get started.
Hello, I am Cognimate. What can I do for you?
Hi. So it takes the time to recognize what I've spoken. So let's try that again. So it's going to wait for some time before the commands back in. So always when doing the code, the first thing that you always have to do is to save your code. So if you see this is real time, this is on the server, this is AI. So suppose the load is high, it might get stuck as well. So what you always have to do is you've got to save the project to your computer. So click on save to computer. Now my project has been saved. And let me see where it has been saved. It's in the downloads over here. So now even if I have to reload because I think it is stuck, I'm going to reload my project. And if it gets lost as well, all I can do is a simple thing wherein I just load it from my computer. So let's just see what happens. I'm going to go file, load from my computer. It's going to be in the download segment over here. I'm going to upload my project. So it's loading my project as I wanted it. Now I'm again going to click on the.
Hello, I am Cognimate. What can I do for you?
Hi. Okay. So when I said hi, it is taken it as HAI. So it's not able to respond. So what I'm going to do is, as we saw in the planning, coding, and debugging, you're now in the debugging phase. So I say that when I say hi, it actually takes it as HAI. So I'm going to replace HI with HA.
How are you?
You see that? So let's try it again. I'm going to click on Cognimate.
Hello, I am Cognimate. What can I do for you?
Hi. Okay. So first, let me clear this. So let's run this again. But we noticed one more thing, right? The voice did not change back to the original smooth voice. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going back to my speech to text. And also here, if you see, I have my voice setting. So when I convert the text to speech, I can choose what voice I want. And over here, I'm setting it to alto, which was the soft voice. And let's run it again. Let's see what happens now. I'm going to click on Cognimate.
Hello, I am Cognimate. What can I do for you?
Move. So it's going to repeat steps. And it's actually moved 10 steps 5 times, but you couldn't see it. Do you know why? Here's the next question. There's one more thing that is missing in the code. So what do I add to make the movement smooth so that I can see Cognimate?
Hello, I am Cognimate. What can I do for you?
Okay, so let's just see who answers that right. So over here, the right one, if you see, it's now been converting all whatever I speak into text and it's on the top. So the one who has got it right is very good. And answer is in terms of the wait block. So after every 10 steps, I need to wait so that I can actually see that the movement is happening. So let's just try this code one more time.
Hello, I am Cognimate. What can I do for you?
Move. So it's moving 5 times and 10 steps each time, and it's done moving. So now we see the code has worked. Now Beth is going to try hi. Let's see how that works.
Hello, I am Cognimate. What can I do for you?
Hi.
How are you?
So you notice the voice has changed. And now when I click again,
Hello, I am Cognimate. What can I do for
it's
you?
gone back to the soft voice. So in such a manner, you've built your simple AI voice-based control projects in a matter of few steps in just few minutes. Feel free to try this as well. And I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun building your own AI projects. So now Arif and Ananya have helped Beth even control the robots with her voice. Let's just see what more is possible with AI. So we can always identify who are there in the image with the AI-based image analysis. This is the code. So first step is you're going to identify, analyze the image with how many are there in this. And you can find out who those two are if you see. I'm going to run this again for you. It said first step is analyzing the image. Second step is it has found that there are 2 celebrities in this image. And then the second one is Chris Evans. And this way you have found out who your celebrities are. And the next step is in terms of locating the objects. We are going to see what and how many people or objects and who these objects are. And over this, they help us to identify and take calls as to what should happen, should not happen. For example, let's just say in this particular image, we find out that there's a bus and there's a boy. And let's just say it is in front of a traffic signal. So if you're placing a camera in front of the traffic signal and you're seeing that the boy is still crossing the road, the light can still be red to save the boy's life. So in this way, you can use AI to ensure you're saving lives. Let's see how this works. Now this is the output of the code. Your camera has identified a person there, a person here, and that's an object. Run this again for you. 1, 2, and it said shuttle bus. So when your algorithm detects a shuttle bus and a child in the same frame, it means they're in the same line of impact. And to save the child's life, you have just used AI. And next, the best part comes in terms of face expression recognition. So where you can find out what expression or what mood the person is in. And with that, you can decide how you want to make the person happy or manage the situation. For example, let's just say I know the favorite song of a person. Now, as soon as they enter the house, I can use my AI algorithm. Now, this, what Arav and Ananya did, they made an algorithm to find out how Beth's face looks when she's angry, when she's sad, when she's happy. And then they started playing a favorite song, some music and all that. Now, in this algorithm, we're going to see how this is able to identify from the real-time videos the expression of children. So first, if you see, the girl is having a happy face, and then the boy is now in a neutral face. Then angry, girl is still neutral. Now the boy is changed to sad, girl is still neutral. So, and now it's in surprised, girl has now started smiling. So with AI in real time, you can recognize the expression, and with the expression, you can find the mood. And then based on the mood, you can make a lot of control algorithms, outputs, and make sure what you want the computer, the robot to do has been done. And as the next step, we went into a world where man and robot are going to be helping each other. The robot is going to assist man to make our daily life easy. And for that, if you see, once there was a time when going in a tram was a big thing. But today, if you see, we have robots, coding, AI, algorithms everywhere. So be it the space, be it land or air or water. So we have robots on Mars telling us, is Mars suitable for us to build a colony there? And we have robots in the sky, making sure that our skies are safe. And then we have robots that are saving the lives of our soldiers in the borders by finding out the landmines and removing them. And then beyond that, we have robots in the sea to see if everybody's safe, to see if there's any oil leaking in the pipelines. There is so much more robots are helping us on a daily basis. So right from the food we eat, if you see right here, the robot is packing the cakes for us. And then the next one, the robot is building the house. And something which we use on a daily basis, the cars, the automobiles, the robots are being involved in building our cars for so long now. And robots are now even assisting doctors to perform complex surgeries. And there's one in particular where the doctor can be anywhere across the world, say even in UK, and the patient is in India. So just like the way the doctor moves the hands and the devices, the robot moves it over here. So from anywhere in the world, we can get the best of healthcare to anybody in the world through AI, robotics, and IoT. So robots are now even assisting in performing surgeries. So there is the future wherein when all of us, just like say English or Hindi or another language, if we also learn coding, it's going to help us with the future. There's a huge demand for increase and a requirement for IoT talent by almost 300%. So wherein now it's all going towards smart. So we want an entire factory to be controlled at the click of a button. When you say make 5 cars today, just send a message to the factory and then the entire machinery gets started up and then you get a message back saying that 5 cars have been manufactured. So in this simple way, we're able to see that you can do anything from anywhere in the world. And the best part is, just like earlier, we had CEO, CFO, COO. Now we have a role that is called Chief IoT Officer. Internet of Things is now a separate role because that is the future. From smart go down, smart logistics, everywhere things are changing. And just like this robot, which we saw, what is also happening is 3D printing. They're even considering to build a complete house through 3D printing, which we can stay in. And even the implants, the medical implants for the heart are being 3D printed, and renewable energy is on the boom as well. So through robotics and automation, we can now control a whole lot of devices. And this is the one that is going to be changing and revolutionizing the future. It's all about, are we ready to take on the future? In terms of the skills that we are learning, so programming is going to help us build our own logical thinking, look at the finer aspects, and we can think the way the computer thinks, and we can make the computer perform what we want the computer to perform. And we can think of solutions that are innovative and out of the world. Our own algorithms can change the way the world is working. And through robotics, through IoT, through AI, we can solve problems using technology. Imagine building a stick for the blind. Imagine helping the blind people with a simple app to find out what object they're holding. So you can solve so many problems in the world. You can help people. And in the process, you build social innovation. And what happens to you when you do all this, you develop your 21st century skills in terms of critical thinking, communication, collaboration, so that you work as a team and solve problems. And more importantly, you are a creative person who can come up with solutions for the most complex problems. And as an outcome, what we're looking for is in terms of you experiencing technology, you being a team player, and more importantly, building the social and emotional intelligence to focus and build people-centric innovative projects. And this will inspire, and this is the path for the next generation for digital innovators. So these are some of the awards which we've received. And this is one of our biggest achievements, where a team of 6 girls have built a humanoid robot that is to be serving as a receptionist, which is almost 6 feet high, can do AI, can do IoT, and do a complete control. And we have our students who've been featured on the print and mass media. And this is our student, Preet, who has been winning contests across the world. He has been presenting projects. One of his projects has won the award for Best Technology Solution from schools participating across the country. And recently, his innovation has been appreciated highly by Dr. Kiran Bedi. And this is a small video from that.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
So he has built his own AI algorithm, which is now being used as sensitizing and awareness towards COVID. So now I'll be inviting Preet to join the stage with me and share with us what and how he has done and how he has been able to gather the potential, the thought process, and how the idea came to him as to how he can serve through technology and build something that's being used by so many people across the world. So, Preet, you can share now if you're ready. This is a small setback. So over here, if you see, Preet has built a smart analysis tool which is able to identify if it's going to be positive or negative based on simple algorithm in AI. He's able to classify using the algorithms and give a small percentage of accuracy as to what is working right and when it is working right. And he was able to help the officials come up with some sort of conclusion. And his project was selected from across so many in the country. And apart from that, I'd like to specifically talk about the one in which he had made, where he had won the Best Technology Innovation Award. So this he had built a smart dustbin. So let's just see how the smart dustbin works. And we have Preet with us. So the smart dustbin that Preet built was able to find out if the dustbin was full, if somebody has dropped something hot, if the dustbin has caught fire, because sometimes, or is it too smelly, should it be taken out, is it full? So he had so many parameters with the dustbin, the smart dustbin, and he had built a network of such, and that won him a national level award. So we are so happy for Preet for that. And now Preet is going to share with us so what he did towards the COVID awareness project, which has been highly appreciated. Over to Preet to share with us.
So, hello everyone. My name is P.D. Aswani. I'm studying in 9th standard. So, I was inspired by Uday Uncle for learning robotics and coding classes. So today I'm going to show you a project called Hospital Assistant. So the project is Hospital Assistant.
Okay, go ahead, don't worry.
So it's an intersection of science, engineering, and technology. It produces robots, and it is the substitute for the human voice. So I'm going to show you the project.
So Preet, I think your Cognimates is already open. I think we just go to that straight for the want of time.
So you can see in my right hand side, this is a nurse. She's the hospital assistant. So the main theme of this project is for check to early statement for giving the COVID test or not. So we are helping the COVID-19 warriors like nurse, scientists So I'm very lucky to have this opportunity. The robotics gave me an opportunity to help the COVID-19 to defeat the COVID-19. So you can see on my left hand side there are so many blocks are there. With the help of these blocks, I'm going to do the coding. So you can see the first block when flag clicked. This is the first block that we can start our project. So you can see the second block, speak to text. This block will help the AI robot to conversation with us in a human voice. So first she will say, "Welcome to the healthcare assistant." So the second question she will ask, "What is your name?" So the third, she can see the wait block, 6 seconds wait. The she will hear our name for wait. She'll wait for 6 seconds for hearing our name. After hearing our name, she will say, "Hi, Preet." So you can see these four major blocks. It's A, B, C. These four major blocks. These blocks are called text training. Text training is that it tests your model. In test the model, that are called two categories are there. One category is positive and one category is negative. In positive category, we have to write at least 10 words. And negative, we have to write in at least 10 words. So in positive, like fever, cold, running nose. In negative, like safety, mask, sanitation, social distancing. So after that, you can see that she will ask, "Please tell me your symptoms. If you have any symptoms, so please tell the hospital attendants, I have cough, I have cold." So she will say, "Please tell," she'll tell, "Okay, wait, your results are getting ready for testing COVID-19 or not." If you are positive, if you have any symptoms, she will say, "Oops, the symptoms for corona, please go for COVID test." So if you don't have any symptoms, you're sanitized properly, you're appearing social distancing, she'll say, "It's negative, please take care." So today I'm going to show you a demo that we have made a project. So you can see I have put in a full screen. So again, top side there are two buttons, the green flag and the red stop button. The green flag is for start button and the red button is for stopping. So let's just start the project. Deepak, Deepak. So she's asking my symptoms. So as you can see, I have no symptoms. So you can see left side result negative. So this project was made in by us. So it was a main theme that we can help the COVID warriors to help them to stop this coronavirus in this pandemic situation. So
Thank you, Preet. It was simple and nice. The biggest purpose of this is initially was a panic that do I have COVID was biggest panic which everybody had at that point of time. And here what was happened was using AI. So Preet has actually got inputs from what all the symptoms they have told. And from the text, he has run an AI algorithm to match the symptoms what the person has told with what was mentioned. And then he was able to identify and tell if the person needed help or did not need help. So, in that way, the first step of analysis, the initial conversation has been completely automated, which is now enabling to save a lot of time and effort. And for the same, more for his thought, what he has put in and the output which he has done, he has been appreciated by Dr. Kiran Bedi herself. So, next. So for us, the biggest success is not just the success and the sharing by a child. We also have a parent with us who like to share what she felt and how coding with DIYA has been helpful. So over to Mrs. Bhavani to share with us.
Hello. To start with, I'm absolutely happy to be a part of this session. Congratulations to DIYA for actually organizing this and also inviting me over to speak on behalf of the student, my daughter. To put it in brief, I know Vaishu has always been inclined towards digitalization, digital, and the laptop. She's always been tinkering around. But where do I channelize that energy? That became a challenge. So definitely I was looking for an institute that offered more than just simply some kind of subject matter coding and the lay thing, which is always available everywhere. I stumbled upon DIYA, and to see, when I saw the curriculum, it was pretty expansive, not expensive, extensive, expansive. And I say it's pretty wide. At the same time, that the mode of teaching was so comprehensive that anybody could understand. Besides, the other thing was, what I noticed was Vaishu's mathematical skills improved. She was okay at math, but then after joining DIYA, her skills drastically improved. Her reasoning skills improved. She recently attended the SFO. She also scored some good points. Her points improved. So I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with what DIYA has to offer all the children right now. And besides, by the way, the international certification that they're giving is something that will take my daughter to the next level. So it's fantastic for her portfolio. Thank you so much, Mr. Uday. Thank you so much. You've been a wonderful mentor.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Means a lot for us. Thank you for the opportunity. So thank you, friends. I'm sure all of you had an amazing, a wonderful session. So you all saw about how AI and IoT works. You saw how you can build your own projects from something as simple as controlling a street light to making your house safe. And now you see how kids like Arif, Ananya, and Beth are changing the world one project at a time. And now we now have come to the tail end of the technology presentation. Thank you so much, everyone, for being an amazing learner and wonderful participation from each of you towards the quiz. Now we go to the next part, which is on how we can grow ourselves, on how leaders are readers, on how reading can help us become a better version of ourselves, and we can consistently keep growing. And for the same, we have my good friend, a wonderful leader, Mr. KVT Ramesh, all the way from Vizag, coming and share with us what he's doing and how he's transforming reading for children to make it a global movement.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Uday. I'm really happy to be part of this particular thing. In fact, I'm so proud to be part of this because it's a world record attempt, and I really appreciate all of you for taking part of this particular thing. So before I talk about what is Pick a Book and how Pick a Book is impacting people to lead a better life in their life, I would request one of our members, one of our readers who's part of Pick a Book, is who's been extraordinary presenter when it comes to book presentations. She's recently read a book and then she's ready to present that book for all of us in just 10 minutes time. So I'm sure you'll all enjoy that. And this presenter has already done presentation in multiple clubs across India and other countries also. In even Sri Lanka also she presented. And I'm excited to invite Mansa. Mansa, the stage is yours. Please go ahead and do a great job.
Thank you, KVT uncle. That was really good to hear from you. I would request the host to make Sridevi Vishwanatha the host so she could share my screen. Yeah. So, good evening, everyone. I'm Mansa Shruti Vishwanatha. So, today I'm going to tell you all a few stories about some great and powerful women. The first story is about a woman whose defiance led to one of the most significant legal pronouncements of her time. Before I start the stories, let me introduce you to the book which I'm telling the stories from. This book is Like a Girl, written by Aparna Jain. Aparna Jain is a leadership coach and an author of children's books like a Girl, and the Source Family Cookbook, and many other books. Let us not waste any more time and jump into the session. It was the year 1875, and Rukma was being married to a 19-year-old boy named Dadaji Bhikaji. Child marriage was an accepted practice in India in those days. Sometimes children as young as 2 were married. According to custom, Rukma would stay in her own home till she was old enough to live with her husband and his family. Rukma's stepfather, Dr. Sakharam Arjun, was a doctor in Bombay. Her own father had died when she was 2 years old, and her mother had remarried again. Her stepfather encouraged her to study, and it was due to his encouragement that she also learned English. A few years after Rukma attained puberty, her husband demanded that she move in with him. When Rukma went to meet her husband, she found out that he was an extremely lazy person. He didn't want to work or study further. Rukma went back home. She was disgusted. She outrightly refused to go and live with her husband. Her mother and grandfather were naturally upset with her decision, but her stepfather, he supported her, stood by her like a rock, and encouraged her to study further. Eventually, Dadaji Bhikaji went to court to demand that Rukmabai move in with him. The court gave 22-year-old Rukmabai a choice. She could either go to jail or go to her husband. But being the brave woman she was, Rukma said she would rather go to jail than go and live with her husband. She said that she had not even agreed to the marriage. At the age of 11, she had been too young to make such an important decision about her life. Rukmabai had no idea that her defiance would lead to one of the most significant legal pronouncements of her time. The judge decided that he could not force a woman to move in with her husband who had not even agreed to the marriage in the first place. People were deeply divided over the issue. Some who were progressive welcomed the decision with open arms, but while others just felt that this was an outright attack on the Indian culture. Because these lawyers appealed to the courts again, and the case went on for some time. Finally, it was decided that Rukmabai's marriage was a valid one. But she refused to go to her husband's home again. During the course of this case, Rukmabai wrote long and detailed letters to the Times of India, stating her situation and also about the terrible practice of child marriages in India. She signed off her letters as a Hindu woman. Most newspapers covered her case too. Encouraged by this response, Rukmabai wrote a letter to the Queen Victoria herself. India was under the British rule then. She requested the Queen to intervene and save her. Queen Victoria replied positively, overruled the courts, and dissolved Rukma's marriage and saved her from a jail sentence. This was an important moment for women's rights in India. In 1889, a few women supporters got together to pay for Rukmabai to go to England and study medicine. After 5 years, she came back as India's first practicing woman doctor. She received many accolades. Despite her qualifications, life was no cakewalk for Rukma. It was sheer grit and determination that allowed Rukma to sustain her medical practice for 35 long years and to become chief medical officer at a hospital, first in Surat and then in Rajkot. Rukmabai continued her battle against child marriage in Purda and other societal evils through her writings. At the age of 91, Rukmabai died and her house was converted into a school just as she had wished. The next story is about a woman who became the first woman to win a Wimbledon Junior. She's none other than Sania Mirza, the tennis ace. Young Sania was watching her father play a game of tennis in Ohio, USA. She and her twin cousins were acting as ball persons. After her father finished, Sania and her cousins decided to hit a few balls. Since Sania was a very little girl, her ball barely reached the court. Her cousins teased Sania and bullied her off the court, but little Sania was already in love with the game. Sania asked her mother to enroll her in tennis classes. Her mother had to refuse, saying that tennis classes were very expensive at that time. But when they went back to India, the first thing Sanya's mother did was to enroll Sanya in tennis, roller skating, and swimming classes. Sanya was overjoyed. The coach at the Nizam Club in Hyderabad had never seen a 6-year-old hit a ball with so much power. He called Sanya's father, Imran, to come and watch the game. When Imran saw her potential, he decided to take Sanya's game seriously and he started coaching her himself. Sanya began playing in club tournaments, state tournaments, and finally she got selected for the All India Tennis Association circuit. Her parents used to get her into their car and drive to the match location with Sanya and her little sister. They used to stay overnight in inexpensive lodges. But all the hard work paid off when Sanya won a spot in the under-14 team to play for India. The baby of the team, Sanya dominated the circuit, winning 6 out of 8 matches that year. At the age of 12, she became the number 1 in the under-14 category, and soon she went on to become the number 1 in the under-18 category too. Titles continued to come her way. In 2001, at the age of 14, Sanya became the youngest player to compete in any event at Wimbledon. In 2003, 16-year-old Sanya spotted a young Russian, Alyssa Klebanova, and asked her to be her doubles partner. They played together beautifully and despite their nervousness, went all the way to the finals of the Wimbledon Doubles Junior Championship. It was the first time an Indian girl had won the Junior Wimbledon. Over the next decade, Sanya's career as a singles player took her to number 27 in the world rankings. In 2012, she decided to retire from singles after multiple injuries to her knees and her wrist. She started playing mixed doubles with ace Indian player Mahesh Bhupati and won her first Grand Slam title with him, the Australian Open. She then partnered with former world number 1 Martina Hingis, and the pair took the tennis world by storm. In 2015, Sanya went on to become the world number 1 in women's doubles. The same year, she became the first Indian woman to ever win a Wimbledon final, when Martina and she won the women's doubles. Sanya's life off the court was eventful too. Her identity as a young Muslim girl playing a sport that required her to wear short skirts came often under scrutiny. In 2010, when she married Pakistani cricketer Shoaib Malik, she and her family were stalked by media in both the countries. But Sanya and her family stood firm. They refused to be cowed down by the bullies. In 2013, Sanya Mirza set up the Sanya Mirza Tennis Academy in Hyderabad. She spends a lot of time supporting and grooming youngsters from India to play tennis. In 2017, she also started the Sanya Mirza grassroots level academy for children between 3 to 8. Dreams are the seeds that lead to all achievements, says Sanya. All dreams must be backed up by hard work and perseverance. The next and the last story for today is about the woman who was the first woman gymnast from India to win a medal at the Commonwealth Games. She's none other than Deepa Karmakar, and this is her story, vaulting to victory. 6-year-old Deepa looked around the gym. One would call it that. The dingy room was flooded with rainwater and cockroaches were running all around the torn mats. She sighed. She was there only because her father wanted her to be a gymnast. He was a sports person, and unlike many other Indian parents who wanted their children to only focus on studies, Deepa's mom and dad had actively encouraged Deepa to take up a sport. Deepa's life was very different from that of her other girls in school. Her headmistress knew that Deepa was training for competitive sport and hence allowed her to only attend 4 classes out of 7 every day. Deepa had to leave school early for arduous training sessions with her coach. She had no free time and couldn't have fun playing with the rest of her classmates. But all the hard work paid off when at the tender age of 8, she won her first medal at the Northeastern Games. She won a gold medal at the balance beam, one of the events in gymnastics. An official at the Games recognized her potential and recommended that she train with Bisweshwar Nandi, a gymnast who had once led the national team. Deepa had flat feet, which put her at a disadvantage compared to other gymnasts. It affected her jumps and landings. Early on, Coach Nandi showed her exercises that helped increase the angle of the arc of her feet. Deepa listened to all his instructions and followed them diligently to the T. As a child, Deepa would get very angry with herself if she could not do her best. Coach Nandi would calm her down and advise her to channel her energy into the training. This helped her improve her performance. But her coach and her father felt that Deepa was good enough to represent the country in international games. In 2014, she started training for the challenging Produnova routine called the Vault of Death. It involves a dismount of 2.5 somersaults off a vaulting horse. Deepa wasn't scared. She trained hard and fearlessly. That year, Deepa participated in the Glasgow Commonwealth Games. This was the first international event in which she'll be attempting the Produnova. All eyes were on her. She won a bronze medal and became the first woman gymnast from India to win a medal at the Commonwealth Games. Deepa then started training hard for the Rio Olympics. In general, boys in India have better access to equipment and training facilities than girls. Deepa was determined to prove that she was just as good as any boy. Also, by now, the facilities for gymnasts improved considerably. In the 3 months prior to the Olympics, Deepa started practicing the Produnova routine 1,000 times. It was very physically and mentally exhausting. But both she and her coach had their eyes on a medal. During the Olympic qualifiers, Deepa was placed 8th. By then, she had already broken a record by becoming the first Indian woman gymnast to qualify for the Olympics. On 10th August 2016, Deepa surpassed all expectations and vaulted to 4th place in the Olympics. Afterwards, disappointed with her result, she said to the coach, "Now that we haven't got any medals, let's return to India, get into a taxi and go straight home." Coach Nandi laughed and waved her off. He told her that all of India had been following the Olympics with rapt attention, their hopes pinned on Deepa. Those who haven't even heard of the Produnova routine watched her execute it with bated breath. Coach Nandi told her that Deepa was awaiting a proud nation. On her return, Deepa was asked who should play her if a movie was made on her life. She laughed and said, "Someone who can do the Produnova." That's it for today's session. I hope all of you liked it.
Thank you, Mansa. Thank you so much. In fact, that is just to show how our students, especially our children who are part of Pick a Book, become. Actually, today, if you see, Mansa has delivered a session of the book that she's just read. In fact, the power of this, what is that she's gained of, being part of a Pick a Book platform is the confidence to present a book in front of any number of audience that, if you ask me. Reading is a great habit that we all know. In fact, reading as a habit, it actually helps a lot of them. If you just check with a lot of leaders out there in the world or most successful people in the world, they would definitely tell reading is one of the habits which help them to grow big in their life. That habit, if we can start inculcating in children very early in their age, that will become a kind of great habit, and that helps them to grow big in their lives. So that's exactly what Pick a Book is doing. We are trying to inculcate the habit of book reading right from the young age for children. So just like Mansa, we have so many children who are transforming their lives by getting into book reading habit. Those of you who are interested to get into the book reading habit, you can definitely look at this as an option. That's exactly what we are trying to do in the entire world. This is a global movement. It's a global platform for all the book readers. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Uday. Back to you. Thanks for the time.
Thank you so much, KVT sir. It was amazing. Mansa was an excellent presentation, huge motivation. I'm sure a leader is always a reader. A reader is always a leader. So thank you so much. It was an amazing presentation. Nice to see that from someone so young come in such a wonderful way. So now, 2 words, how you can officiate and make sure. Most welcome, Manasa. So now we're now going to see how we can make your certification process en route. So friends, children, educators who are there for getting your world record attempt certificate. So you got to follow a very, very simple process just to ensure whoever have participated throughout the session. This is the process. So just go to Google. That's what I'm going to do right now. see my screen. So go to diyalabs.com, and over here, please go to world record. And here we have a simple form for you that says, make your presence felt. So here you can fill in your name and then your phone number. Make it about 10 digits. So please enter the right ones. It checks for the same. Then your mail ID, which class you're in. So from that, we will identify which school you're from as well. So not to worry. And here we would love your feedback. We would love to hear from you what you like the most about the event and how happy, how much you learned from this session, and then you can submit. So based on your submission, your certificates will come to you in batches. So within 30 days from today, that is before the end of January, you'll be having all your certificates en route to appreciate you for the wonderful effort, your motivation to learn more, and being so enthusiastic and energetic to learn more and thereby become future ready. Thank you so much. Thank you for all your wonderful support. Over to the Elite World Records and Asia Book of Records team to take the process further.
Thank you, Uday. This is Dr. Pradeep Kumar.
Welcome, sir.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, hope this is a citation ceremony. Let me take over the citation ceremony. Dr. Shantaram, the host, are you ready for the citation ceremony?
Yeah, just a minute, Mr. Dr. Pradeep.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen,
Okay.
Dr. Pradeep, I'm ready.
Great. Let us observe one. DIYA, do it yourself. A historical achievement on 19th December 2020. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, DIYA has created a new historical world record with Elite World Records and Asian Records Academy. Today, it's a very important time for us to celebrate the citation ceremony of the achievement of DIYA. Let us all observe 1 minute silence for world peace and for the COVID warriors. Thank you. Now I call upon Latika Rangarash to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening, everyone. We are extremely grateful to all the students, educators, principals, schools, and coordinators who have partnered with us on this journey. Wow, what a wonderful journey it has been, along with Elite World Record team and core members. In the process of attempting the world record, we have learned quite a lot also. The mood was festive throughout, with each one of you contributing wholeheartedly and making it memorable. We convey our heartfelt gratitude to all our partners and the entire DIYA team for their valuable efforts and tireless work in making this a memorable journey with lots and lots of learning and takeaways. I now call upon the World Record team to present the citation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Latika. Recognition. I would like to recognize the presence of founder of DIYA, Mr. Uday Shankar sir. Happy evening having you here. We are great. We are very proud of having you here, founder of DIYA. I would like to recognize the presence of Mr. Jawahar Karthikeyan, Ambassador and Senior Adjudicator of Elite World Records, LLC, United States, representing India. I would like to recognize the presence of Dr. A.K. Sindhil Kumar, Ambassador and Senior Adjudicator, Asian Records Academy, United Arab Emirates and Singapore. I would like to recognize the presence of J.C. Amit K. Hingaroni, Senator, JCI India. I would like to recognize the presence of all the principals of various schools throughout the globe. I would like to recognize the presence of all the student community and teaching fraternity in this wonderful evening for being a part of the world record attempt by DIYA, a historical achievement. Most number of participants on a coding session on its demonstration and its application during a YouTube live video streaming. It is first of its kind in the world that DIYA has attempted this world record, and we are keeping our fingers crossed to know whether this activity is successful or not. Ladies and gentlemen, now I present before you Sri Jawahar Karthikeyan, Senior Adjudicator and Ambassador of Elite World Records, a man with perfect vision and mission, a perfectionist who has experience of over 7 years in the field of world records. I present before you Sri Jawahar Karthikeyan to give away his declaration and observation. Over to Sri Jawahar Karthikeyan, Elite World Records.
Good evening, all. It's a pleasure to be here this evening for this event by DIYA. So to begin with, in fact, the word DIYA itself is a fantastic coinage. It's combining do-it-yourself academy, which again leads to the sense of DIYA, which is the lamp. So you're holding the lamp of knowledge and spreading knowledge. So very aptly named with a very clear reason for forming. I'm really thrilled and amazed by your creativity in arriving at that name itself. And true to the name and the way you have formed, the presenters for today, Mr. Uday, Dr. Miroslav and Dr. Andrew, it was a fantastic presentation. I mean, we were initially in our earlier analysis before this event, I was a bit concerned in terms of how Murphy's Law might act today, but things went on fantastically well without any hitch at all, and that's particularly very important because we are talking about communication and devices, basic core electronic devices functioning across 3 different continents. And we are talking about a time zone which is spread across something like 16 to 18 hours. And still, things went on fantastically well. It is all kudos to Team DIYA across the world, actually. Fantastically done. And in fact, even during the coding, which Mr. Uday was demonstrating, he had purposefully brought in some missing elements, particularly related to that looping, and checking out why it is not working. And then by adding that, making the code work fantastically. Beautiful way of explaining how coding works, what could go wrong, and how to get it done properly. So it really is a eye-opener in the way students could take it up. And I'm sure if the same way your regular sessions go, all your students are really going to be very happy and really coming out with good knowledge. See, that is the very purpose of these sessions as such. And seeing the demo of RunLink and the way Dr. Miroslav brought it out by saying with just 1 line of coding, I can do this, 2 lines of code, you can do this, and with 3 lines of code, you can do something fantastic. Really, I mean, very impressed by RunLink and the efforts that has gone into creating such a very easy and accessible programming base. As such, yes, it's a high-level code. It's what do you call HTML and all those things. But still, I mean, for a beginner, this removes a lot of fear in terms of the subject itself. Because generally, when you talk about AI and machine learning and IoT, it is thought about as if it's not accessible immediately to children and even for adults. But and particularly, it's not children would learn very fast, I'm very sure. But this technology, if it really needs to be disruptive, has to reach adults, people who are over 40 or 45. And these kind of platforms that you are developing, they make sense to people who are in this particular age group. Only when they adopt, it will really spread very fast across the globe. So that way, you have really done a fantastic work. No wonder all your younger students are really winning so many international awards, as Dr. Miroslav was sharing. And finally, when you are finishing off your codings, really impressed with how your AI modules were able to quickly recognize all those emotions and display all those emotions, immediately. Very impressive and purposeful in terms of the choice of programs that you brought in for today's session. Kudos to you and your team, Mr. Uday. Best wishes for your future growth and success. So we have done the analysis, and we did have some stringent norms in terms of what we would count in as time and also what we would take in as numbers for counting up. So we did have a peak of somewhere around 3,800 and more, but based on the average and other things, we have brought it down as an approved number. So I would request, from my side as adjudicator of Elite World Records for the Asia Pacific zone, I would say that this is a successful attempt based on the minimum number criteria that was set by us, which was 2,000. You have exceeded that. So for the final numbers, can I ask the records admin team to post the final numbers, please?
Thank you, Jawahar Karthikeyan. It's indeed a great pleasure having you here to adjudicate and certify the event. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, yes, be proud that DIYA has created a new world record in the category most number of participants in online session. And here we go with this world record certification from Elite World Records LLC, United States. I now kindly request our most respected ambassador and adjudicator, Shri Jawahar Karthikeyan, to citate the world record certificate to DIYA.
So I'm happy to provisionally approve this attempt by DIYA for the most number of viewers in a session on coding, its demonstration and its application during a YouTube live session live streaming, counting to 2,887 viewers done by Do It Yourself Academy, Chennai District, Tamil Nadu, India on December 19th, 2020. The minimum set for you was 2,000. You have exceeded that. So I'm provisionally declaring this as a successful attempt. Of course, after the documentation, you will get the final certificate and things like that. Congratulations for your successful attempt today. Best wishes to the team again for the future.
Thank you, Jawahar sir. I would like to again read the certificate. The most number of viewers in a session on coding, its demonstration and its application during YouTube live video streaming counted to 2,887 viewers was achieved by Do It Yourself Academy, DIYA, DIYA, Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India on December 19, 2020. Speakers were Mr. Uday and team, and few more speakers were from Australia also. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, today DIYA has brought a wonderful diamond crown to our country. Yes, they have created a new history. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, DIYA, feel proud to be a part of DIYA, feel proud to be a part of the historical achievement today DIYA has made. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, today DIYA has brought a diamond crown and everlasting history to our country in coding and its application. It has paved way. Sky is the limit on artificial intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, Uday, the founder of DIYA, is now a proud world record holder. Let us put our hands together and give a big round of applause to Uday and his team. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's now time to hear from one of the very, very perfectionist, a senior most adjudicator and ambassador, representing a book, Asian Records Academy. Asian Records Academy is a book which was established in the year 1999, which had its headquarters earlier at Singapore, and now it has its headquarters at United Arab Emirates, Dubai. Ladies and gentlemen, Asian Records Academy has a unique historical data of the world record achievers of Asia Pacific and Middle East. I now present before you Dr. A.K. Sendil Kumar, who is a perfectionist, a veterinary doctor, who himself has joined with Asian Records Academy as a junior adjudicator, then promoted as an adjudicator, then promoted as a senior adjudicator. And recently, 2 years back, he was promoted as an ambassador and senior adjudicator. Ladies and gentlemen, let us put hands together and welcome Dr. A.K. Sendil Kumar, ambassador and senior adjudicator of Asian Records Academy for Asia Pacific, to give away the declaration and keynote address.
Well, thank you, Dr. Pradeep, for the invite. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure here today to be as an adjudicator and ambassador representing Asian Records Academy. Just to start with, the success of any program, the success of any individual, be it a personal or professional endeavors, basically lies with how you coin the name for your company or how you coin the name for your home. So to go with DIYA, Do It Yourself Academy, is highly self-explanatory of its nature of business in which this company is connected with. So, Mr. Uday, it's a smart move that in this rat race world, you have designed, you have coined the name of your company in an apt way that reaches absolutely perfect to the bullseye of the target. Congratulations for choosing the best name for your company, primarily. Secondly, I had my own imaginations. I had my own ideas built in or crafted in my thoughts about how this program is going to be run all about, because it's highly a technology-oriented attempt. The flow of the program, the moment it started, say about 4:20, right through now, it was seamless. There was no setback in the technology part. Secondly, the team of Uday, Dr. Andrew from Manchester and Dr. Misolau Kostecki from Australia, they were like, they played the real pivotal role about this program. These two people, these two foreigners. The reason why I say this particular statement here is because this program had been witnessed through YouTube by people of various strata. People who have some basic knowledge about what coding is, and also people like us who have a very superficial bird's eye view about what this industry is all about. To begin with, Andrew gave a very, very crisp and crystal clear presentation about what this program is going to be. And it carried through a span of about 5 minutes, and it gave a beautiful insight about what coding is and what DIYA does. Followed by that, participation by Dr. Misolau in giving a practical touch to the theoretical presentation by Uday was something really fabulous. It makes us all to fall in line with how theory and practical can go like hand in glove and give a best output. Thirdly, the success of this presentation lied with the content given by Mr. Uday. Mr. Uday had a clear pitch on the technology front. He had a clear pitch on how this technology paves way for the betterment of human life. He quoted classical examples. The voice-based control projects were well explained, and the use of artificial intelligence algorithms to identify our emotions was well portrayed, and how these robots move the landmines in the warfront, and how the spillage of oil in oceans is well detected by the robo systems, and how these robots work in building cars in manufacturing sectors, and how it is being put into use in medical field in developing implants through 3D technology, 3D printing technology, how this coding helps. And the way he explained about how the doctors are facilitated by this telemedicine therapy and how the doctors are facilitated through this coding and robotics in performing surgeries from far off places was well explained. And one important designation like CIoT really interested me a lot. CEO we have heard, COO we have heard, but CIoT, the Chief of Internet of Things Officer, is a portfolio which is of late gaining momentum in technology-friendly business firms, was something amazing presented by Uday. And the real power of any program, this being a student-centered program, students and the college students, the presentation given by J. Ashwini, she gave a beautiful presentation about how the hospital assistance project done by her, facilitated during COVID, was something really amazing. And the way she presented clearly speaks about the guru. No hitch, the confidence level with which she presented her project, and the in-depth knowledge about the coding, which facilitated her to give the best in hospital assistance project she had recently done with, speaks good about the leader, about that speaks about the quality of the leader, Uday of DIYA. And when I gone through the objective of this program, why DIYA wants to take up this program is something which I must really appreciate, and I must cite it here. Primarily, the motive of any attempt in world record, there are two things. Number one, it gives satisfaction to self. Number two, it gives or it adds fuel to your business. I could find an element of both in the traits or the points highlighted in the objectives given by DIYA. Number one, DIYA said, assuring investment-free returns to institutions. Number two, career readiness for students. Number three, the existence of company. It's not a mushrooming company. I'm here, my company is here ever since 2013 and keeps growing on an exponential scale. That speaks confidence about your company. And ultimately, in business world, people had been talking about satisfaction, customer satisfaction. Now the word customer satisfaction is almost becoming obsolete. It's getting replaced, almost replaced by customer delight. And even more, it has moved to the next level where people say customer ecstasy. Now DIYA, my best wishes to DIYA and its team to move from the level of satisfaction to delight to ecstasy. So I'm totally convinced with the way the program went, and to cite few numbers on my observations during adjudication, the total presentation duration taken over by Mr. Uday had been 1 hour, 20 minutes and 30 seconds, and by Miro by 12 minutes and 53 seconds, and by Andrew for 5 minutes, and put together by rest of the speakers, Jay Ashwini and few other students, it is on an average, it is about 12 minutes. So summing up to this, the basic guideline from Asian Records Academy is our minimum requirement is 1,500 viewers, and DIYA has successfully completed this world record attempt, and you are striking at the target with 2,887 viewers. Of course, my official declaration lies with all the back papers, which I'll be likely getting out from the timekeepers, from the witness and the stewards, based on which my official declaration will be following in a couple of days. And over to Dr. Pradeep for the citation.
Thank you, Dr. A.K. Senthilkumar, sir. It's indeed a great pleasure and honor having you here to adjudicate and declare the achievers of the day. I now request the administrator to please present citate the certificate on behalf of Asian Records Academy. I now request Dr. A.K. Senthilkumar to please citate the certificate, world record title to DIYA.
So it's my privilege for this, the most important moment, my declaration of this citation. Certificate of achievement comes from Asian Records Academy. The highest number of viewers in a session on coding, its demonstration and its application during a YouTube live video streaming was achieved by Do It Yourself Academy, DIYA, Chennai District, Tamil Nadu, India, on December 19, 2020. It counted to 2,887 viewers. Congratulations, DIYA and team. Best wishes for greater accolades in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. A.K. Senthilkumar. I would like to again recitate the Certificate of Achievement, Asian Records Academy. The highest number of viewers in a session on coding, its demonstration and its application during a YouTube live video streaming was achieved by Do It Yourself Academy, DIYA, Chennai District, Tamil Nadu, India, on December 19, 2020. It counted to 2,887 viewers. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here comes another diamond crown by DIYA to our country, and we are very proud of you, DIYA, and we are very proud of the students of DIYA, and we are very proud of all the participants of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to hear from the hero. I have a story here. An ordinary person has now become an extraordinary person. An ordinary person who has now become an extraordinary person. An ordinary company has now become an extraordinary company. An ordinary achiever has become as a world record achiever. Ladies and gentlemen, I present before you Sri Uday, the founder of DIYA, to proudly say now he is an extraordinary person on the achievement of this world record title today. I now request Uday, founder of DIYA, to kindly deliver the presidential address.
Thank you so much, Elite World Record and Asia Book of Records team. So the credit is not to me. It is actually, the fact is, it takes a world-class team to reach a world-class goal. So all credit to my team DIYA, who has stood by us, who have been with our partners, with the children. So I know how much effort the team has put in. So I would say the effort by the team would be much higher than what I did. So this 2 hours, though I've been sitting here and handling the session, I know how much has been happening around. So across the world, actually. So all credit goes to the team, and thank you so much from the education team who've been with us, guiding us, Amitji specifically. So from day one, he's been guiding us in a very systematic manner to make it happen. And most importantly, this record, the purpose, the cause, and the goal is towards making children future ready. So my heartfelt thanks to all the educators, the schools, and everyone who has been part of this record to make it happen. And the biggest thing being, we are happy that our team from across the world has worked together. Our partners from across the country, across the world, have come together towards the vision. So it takes a vision to bring a team together, and a great team has now pulled it off, and gives us immense pleasure that we have now made our country proud. So India holding the record for this is something very special for every Indian. So we are so happy, we're so proud that we as a team, as Team DIYA, have done this. And like all the educating team has shared, DIYA, Do It Yourself Academy, that is the passion, purpose, and vision wherein we are enabling children to become future ready. So thank you so much. Thank you for all the wonderful support, everyone, for making this happen. My heartfelt gratitude. And indeed, it is a day which all of us would remember forever. Thank you for making it so special and wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, DIYA. Thank you, Uday, for you made it the presidential address. You have kissed everyone. You know what is kiss? You have kept the presidential address short and sweet. Keep it short and sweet. You have kissed everyone. and your knowledge. It was a great inspiring. You have set an example, a role model to all the children in the field of coding and artificial intelligence. And I'm very sure all the students of DIYA will make India superpower in 2030, and they will fulfill the vision of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam for sure. And we will be number one in the world. If all the companies in the world, in the country, especially in India, if they practice the same vision and mission like what DIYA has, I'm very sure that we will make our country superpower in 2030. Mr. Uday and team, congratulations. You are now not an ordinary person. You are now not an ordinary company. You are now an extraordinary person. You are an extraordinary company. Ladies and gentlemen, Uday, I have a small information. Wherever you tell it's a world record, you should be very crystal clear. It should be Elite World Records. You should spell the name of the company very correctly, because it should be very, very clear. It's Elite World Records and it is Asian Records Academy. Please spell the company's name very correctly. And it's very important. And wherever you go to the press coverage, the name of the company should be crystal clear. DIYA has created a new world record in the title most number of viewers in a coding session, its demonstration, and its application on a YouTube live streaming. So this is very clear, and it's been approved and certified by Elite World Records and Asian Records Academy. And let us explore this joy and explore this sense of achievement globally. And we are very proud that we are Indian, and we are very proud that we are part of DIYA for creating this remarkable historical achievement of the day. You have made India proud, and we are proud to be part of DIYA. Thank you, Uday and team. You have made the day. Ladies and gentlemen, now I have a very interesting personality of the day, the director behind the show. Generally, directors don't come in front of the show. I introduce one of the very, very senior most speaker, a trainer, a man of perfectionist, a man with a lot of vision and mission for young aspirants. I present before you the Senator of JCA India from Zone 17, JC Amit K. Hingaroni, to give a special note of address. Over to Mr. Amit K. Hingaroni.
Thank you, Dr. Pradeep and Mr. Uday. I just have one word for you, Mr. Uday, and that is, wow, you did it. And what a fantastic presentation it was. Amazing. You know, the world is changing and changing at a very rapid rate. Where a development earlier took years to take place, it is now happening in just a few days. Just for example, the smallpox vaccine took 20 years to develop and be administered to a human, whereas now the COVID-19 vaccine was developed in just a few months, and it is being injected into humans already. And that too, it's an entirely new technology called mRNA. This is the speed at which we are now progressing. We are increasingly getting faster into the digital age. Everything is happening online. Today, in Times of India, there was a report that in just 5 years, the online trade is going to exceed the offline trade. This is how we are getting into the online presence. Everything is becoming digital. It is important, therefore, that the children of today quickly learn the ropes of digitalization. Otherwise, they are going to be left behind. And this is the area where DIYA is doing exemplary work in teaching the coding process to the children. The demonstration given by DIYA to show how things can be controlled in milliseconds in any part of the world is astonishing. And all this was made so easy with the app that you people have developed. I wish to appreciate DIYA and their entire team, specifically Mr. Uday Shankar, Mrs. Latika Rangaraj, and Mr. Bharatwaj Ravindran, in their untiring efforts to create a new world record in the category of coding. They showed its demonstration and its live application in a fantastic way. DIYA has created a world record with 2 record companies, Elite World Records and Asian Records Academy. Now, these two companies are amongst the most respected record books in the world. We are also amongst the strictest of the record companies. You will be surprised at the adjudication process that has gone on behind the scenes. You will be surprised at the strictness with which everything has been dealt with. And for this very reason, when someone gets a certificate from Elite World Records and from Asian Records Academy, it is a very proud privilege because it is purely based on merit. You have achieved something amazing and you have set a new world record, and I'm sure you are going to have a very proud feeling each day when you go into your office and you glance up at the two world record certificates. I congratulate you, Mr. Uday, and your entire team at DIYA and all your people, your partners around the globe for this magnificent achievement, and I'm sure you will be attempting many more records in future. As Thomas Edison once said, if we all did the things we are capable of doing, we would literally astound ourselves. Unquote. I trust that you will enable a lot of students to face the challenges of the digital era, and I'm sure that a lot of your students will be astonishing us in the future by bringing about a drastic revolution in the way things work in the future. All the best to all of you at DIYA. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Pradeep.
Thank you, Amit sir. That was a wonderful presidential address. Dr. Pradeep has signed off. Okay, I now request Mrs. Latika Rangaraj, Madam, to present the vote of thanks. Please unmute your voice, ma'am.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Pradeep. We don't have words now. We are in a very triumph moment. Hard work always pays. That is proven today. It's a proud moment for all of us here today. A big applause to all the school students and the DIYA team. We are extremely thankful to all the educators for their support and guidance throughout this journey, which has given us a lot of learnings. We are grateful to all our partners and well-wishers without which we wouldn't have achieved this. It's a hard work of everyone who is involved and who is working along with DIYA, that today we have achieved this success. It wouldn't have been possible without the support of Elite World Record team also, who has guided us step by step to achieve this. We thank all of you for being here and participating in this event and making this a great success. As we come to the close of this event, I request Elite World Record team to take over and do the closing ceremony. We are very hooray is what we could close with. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sir, to officially close the meeting, World Record attempt, now the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Now it is Uday and team to proceed further. Thank you, sir. Thank you, all adjudicators. Thank you.
Mr. Uday, the world record team is signing off. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you very much again. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Have a great weekend. And have a great year ahead. So this year ends with a bang.
Thank you. Same to you.